Situated out in the rolling hills near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, tonight, drivers take on our first road course of the season, Road America. It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait for it. I'm here with Pete Ruzick for tonight here at Road America. How you doing out there, Pete?
Eliza, I am ecstatic. 14 twisty rights and lefts here in the great state of Wisconsin, cheese country, as some have called it. A lot of people say they're going to die. I'm ready for this place. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to a fun race, but I'll tell you what, it is loose out there. You're going to see a lot of brakes locking up, some tire hop, tire spin, you name it. So there's some corners that we're going to have to look out for a little more than others, but qualifying is underway, so we'll see how these drivers do. But man, it's going to be interesting. 34 laps out here, and I'll tell you, let's go on board. We see Brody Falliker out there at the moment, and some of these spots are going to be really tricky. You can get a feel for how it's going down here. He's going downhill into this next corner. It's going to be a left-hander, and you really have to get the car woed down. You're going to go up the hill. You could get a little tire hop as you head into second gear going around this corner. So some tricky corners here, Pete.
Yeah, some very tricky. And you talk to some of the guys about their shifting points. Some people kind of comparing, trying to get a little bit of extra speed out of their cars, or all that they can out of their cars. They're talking about those that are actually shifting with a real shifter versus using paddles and whatnot. These guys really trying to get everything out of these Xfinity cars that they can. You want to talk about competitive? This whole group is really in on it every single week.
Yeah, let's talk about Andrew Wisdom. I mean, he has won, I'm pretty sure, every single road course that we have ran. Now, this is the first time we're in the Xfinity Series at a road course, so I'm very curious to see how he will do tonight. But I can tell you, in practice, he had a 12 out there for a fast time. Absolutely flying. We'll see how he does in this lobby and qualifying. It's a 10-minute lap, 10-minute lobby for qualifying, so they have plenty of time to make the lap that they need.
Yeah, and 10 minutes, you really have to get out there right from the get-go. Your warm-up lap is 2+ seconds. Your first lap, 2+ seconds. If you don't mess up on your warm-up, which kind of gives you every now and then, the chance for a mulligan or a do-over. So then you have your fast lap once you've got the tires all heated up and worn in just a little bit. So there's a lot to go on for just one full lap around this 14-turn course.
Yeah, there sure is. These guys are, you're right, Chloe, they're absolutely flying. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Hope you're having a great night. But Andrew Sanford, we see him playing out here in the sand, and we're going to talk about Canada Corner. And I'm kind of curious if this is where he is at indeed, because it is a tricky corner. You're kind of coming downhill and to the right, and it's hard to get that car slowed down enough to make that corner properly. And we'll see how they do out here. But Pete, I know you've seen me announce here in the F1 series, and I always talk about lap 1 and turn 1 of the race. That's going to be a thing tonight. It's very tricky. You have that long straight where the start finish line is, and then you're going to make a right-hander that's pretty tough to make. You have, 25, 30 drivers out here trying to make that corner at the same time. Things can get very interesting.
Oh, absolutely. It is a turn just like you'd find at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's a true right-hand turn. So everybody from the front all the way on back is going to have to try to figure out their braking zone very quick in order not to get run over, but also not to run over the person that's in front of them. Turn 1, lap 1, every single road course we go to is a topic. And yeah, that start stripe right in the middle of that long turn. I'm sorry, that long straightaway. So everybody's going to be in at least second to third gear, going to have to whoa it down and not brake hop or wheel hop, trying to get them whoed up. So, oh man, yeah. As you can tell, there's a whole lot going on, just like what's going on in my voice right now and in my head, trying to convey everything that could possibly happen.
Yeah, there most certainly is. A lot of these guys still out here qualifying, and Pete is telling me we don't even have a time on the board yet. I just got notification that we have Connor Cunningham. He is top of the board with a 2:14.01. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer at 2:14.57. Jordan McGraw with a 2:15.49. So these are over 2-minute lap times. They are just now getting those in. So pretty incredible. You have to be so consistent, stay on that track. You can't get an incident point, which is putting those tires over those curbs or into the grass. It will count against you. And in these road course races, if you get 21 incident points, you will have to do a drive-through and then every subsequent 10 incident points after that. So these guys are going to have to watch it out here, Pete.
Yeah, there was a comment made during the initial practice that there were over 300 incident points from the time practice opened until about 20 minutes ago. So there's even more time for more to be accrued. So every time these guys go off track, maybe get some tires off into the grass, maybe cut a corner, get too far past those rumble strips or any other area that they're not supposed to be on, it counts for points. It really is a track where you have to race the racetrack, forget about your competition, you figure out how to get around them once you catch them, but it's all about the track, keeping all 4 tires on the asphalt and trying to win the race.
Yeah, we're on board with Justin, and you can see just coming off the corner, he is really trying to get on that throttle as quick as possible, and you can see a lot of wheel work that he's doing to try to keep this thing straight. We're going through the carousel right now, and I can tell you that is awkward, extremely awkward to get through it at first until you get used to running it, but you can see him just right and left trying to keep that thing straight. Throttle time, you want to do it as soon as possible, but too soon, and you're going to find yourself spun out. And that's a kink that he just went through. I think we could have an issue there tonight, Pete. Maybe lap 1, but I'm not thinking there's going to be too much of an issue after that. But here's Canada Corner that we've talked about. A couple of drivers, they'll be playing in the sand.
Yeah, and they won't be building sandboxes. It's a very, very tough corner. You see, even one of the guys that's been fastest all night long in Justin Aniscock going off track. And I mean, he at some points in part of that lap, Eliza, he's got that wheel pointed so far to the left that we're looking at like 10, 11 o'clock. It's it's tough to get around here, and these Xfinity cars, they're already loose by nature.
Oh, absolutely. And you talk about getting around here, and these are so different than the Cup cars. I mean, They handle very, very loose, and these tires, they're not like the Cup cars. These wear down rather quickly. You can't go as long as you could in the Cup cars. So I'm talking by lap 4, you're probably almost a full second slower than you were on your second lap. So very, very interesting out here. I want to see how these guys handle it and how they race, but it's going to be a very wild ride.
How about Matty Joy fan says, I've played that sand a time or two on Heat 5. See, even those that come on out to root these guys on, they make mistakes themselves. No blame. Hey, it's okay. It's funny, when I was loading into the track, I hadn't remembered a whole lot about this place. And when I saw the carousel, I was like, okay, I kind of relate maybe to Watkins Glen or something like that. Nothing of the sort. It's still somewhat uphill. There's no banking. It's one of those areas where you can make up a little bit of time if you can get to the bottom, but as you drift up, you also lose time. And then, of course, you got those rumble strips at the end, which could help make you break traction. So many places around this place, so many areas around this place that can make a lap go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Dalator, what's up? I hope you're doing well. He is out here on track. He says the bar is called. Good luck, everybody. So good luck to you also, Maddie. Stacka, appreciate you guys being here. Stacka says, rough day at VIR for Corvette. Both cars had mechanical trouble. Hate to hear that, but looks like most of these drivers have gotten through qualifying. We have about 30 seconds left in it. With Steven Maggio, he was on track. Philip Bridgman possibly still out there, so just a few still left to make a time here.
Yeah, it looks like, as you said, just Steve Maggio right now just went under the Corvette bridge in his number 51 Coke machine. It looks like, as you said, Philip Bridgman, he's also out there in his number 9. So 2 left to complete their laps as the final seconds. Oh, time is up. And we're about to go through our grid, find out who's got the pole and what the rest of the field's going to look like.
Yeah, pretty wild. It's going to be a fun race. I'm looking forward to it. 34 laps. We'll see what happens here, but we're going to have some stages. We'll talk about that once these drivers get underway, but let's go to the grid here. Once they bring it up, let's see if they bring it up. They're like, no, not happening today.
Nope, looks like the warm-up has not yet been advanced. So
all right, here we go. Honeycutt says bad qualifying for him. I saw you out there. I do believe you were in 12th, but let's go ahead and get through Justin. He's out here in that 4 machine, out here on pole. Great qualifying effort for him. Andrew Wisdom is going to be beside him in that 1 machine, just really close to his lap time there. Row 2 is going to be Connor Cunningham in that 3 car with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer on his outside. Riley Rosenbrook is going to be in row 3 along with Jimmy Cocker. Row 4, we're going to have Josh Taylor in that 2 car with Brody Falliker beside him in that 42 machine. And in row 5, we're going to have Jordan McGraw alongside Brendan Book.
At P11 is going to be Matt Gale in his 67 from the UK. And to round out top 12, the one and only John Honeycutt in that Team FTR number 50. 13th is going to be Luke Allen in the 7 with Jose Ruiz in the 23 to his outside. Row 8 looks like Jarrett Cardwell in the 12 with Christopher Karch, his teammate, in the 40 sitting P16. P17, Joe Turley in the 97 with Steve Maggio, one of the later ones to go ahead and put in a time in the 51. P19 is going to be Micah Allard in the 61 with Tom Harmon in the 68 to his outside.
And 21st, we're going to have Francis Hamilton in the 48 with Tom Flitcroft in the 8 car. 23rd, we're going to have Joe Berg in the 93 machine with Andrew Sanford in 24th. And in 25th, we're going to have Forrest Smith. He's going to make his debut tonight out here in the 81 machine, sitting P25, with Philip Bridgman in 26. Jeff No is going to be 27th in that 14 car, with Jacob Palmer in 28th. And 29th, we're going to have Mike Campbell in the 71 machine, with Chuck Cody in 30th. And last but certainly not least is going to be Oscar Henson in the 88 machine, sitting 31st.
31 Xfinity shake and bake drivers getting ready to tackle this 14-turn road course in Wisconsin. I wonder what the prize here is, or the trophy. What if it's just a big block of cheese when it's all said and done? We're about to find out in just 34 laps. A couple of stage breaks in the way, but Eliza, these guys are absolutely ready. You see them rocking the cars back and forth, trying to heat them up just a little bit. I'm ready to roll. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll. And while we're waiting for these guys to get around the track, let's go ahead and take a look at the track analysis for Road America. The race length is going to be 34 laps tonight. No fast repairs, nothing new there. But the stages, they're going to be at 5 laps, and then we're going to have 9 laps, and the final is going to be 20 laps. You're only going to have 2 sets of fresh tires out there to get. So that's going to be a huge thing. These guys are going to have to watch their tire wear and make sure they take care of them. Those fronts are going to be screaming at them by the end of their run.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, the tire wear, it's not like you might find at Sonoma or the Glen or even at the Charlotte Roval. They will absolutely wear out. Right now, they're working their way down the middle of the back of the track. Like you said, very, very long track here in Wisconsin. These pace laps going to take a little bit of time. Got to wonder exactly what these drivers got in their head. Are they thinking about their practice times? Thinking about who they might have to work a little bit harder around in order to pass, or who they should let go that maybe didn't get the best qualifying lap? There's so much that can happen. And man, it's Eliza, this race is going to be absolutely epic.
It's going to be epic, and I'll tell you what, we got to watch a lap 1 and turn 1. I'm very curious to see how they'll get through that. You can see that long straight out there, and I do see a couple of drivers that are possibly still on pit road. See what they do. Joseph Turley, Chuck Cody, Joe Berg. Thomas Harmon is race control, so that's why you see him in there. But we are coming around the final couple of corners before we hit the start-finish line and get this race moving here at Road America.
Eliza, it's going to be also interesting, aside from the tires, who's going to try to maybe save a little bit of fuel, too? I didn't quite get the information as far as how many laps they can go on a tank, but could that also be on their mind as well as they come through the last corner before they finally see the green flag?
You know, I think we are going to have a couple of issues with the final stage as far as fuel goes. Some of these guys might try to save it. You can probably get up to 20, but I'll tell you what, you really have to take it easy. And I'm not sure they're going to know that by that point. So we'll see what happens, but we're getting ready to go green here at Road America for 34 laps, and we're going to lead off by Justin Anasogak. So here we go in that 4 machine. We're going to be headed down to turn 1, and it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, here we go. Green flag is still waving for everybody in the back as they start to look at everybody up front, watching and waiting for them to just slow up. Leaders right now, side by side, all the way through 1. Some people getting squirrely about mid-pack, but everybody so far safely through.
Yeah, take a look at that. That is a crowded track, but they are doing a phenomenal job as we head through the next couple of corners. And these are pretty severe right-handers. You're going to come around this downhill portion, and you're going to have to make a swift left-handed turn here. So we'll see how they get through that.
Yeah, up the first kink into the middle. I guess you can kind of call them S's, but not really. It's basically just a left, a right, a left, a very, very sharp left, and then through the carousel. Top 2 so far has not changed, except for Justin Anscott falling back 1. Andrew Wisdom taking the lead, but Connor Cunningham and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. And of course, just as I say that, Connor Cunningham's off track.
Connor Cunningham had such a great qualifying effort and practice session. Unfortunately, hopefully that's not going to be a lot of damage for him. You can see him off and running again. I don't see anything as far as damage goes, so hopefully he's off and running.
I'll tell you what, the damage is just the loss in track position. I mean, he's all the way back in 26th, so he's going to have to really use the memory of practice and get back on, get back into rhythm, and get going.
Yeah, these guys are headed to Canada Corner, so this is going to be a tricky part here. We will see how they get through it, but we do have a new leader. It is going to be none other than Andrew Wisdom. He is what some of them would call the road course king. Can he do it tonight in a different machine? Tonight we're in the Xfinity Series. He's usually out here in the Cups.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about his success in road course racing ever since joining Shake and Bake, and I was able to count at least 6 or 7 W's on this kind of track since Shake and Bake first went live in 2022 here on iRacing anyway, and this man has just been unbeatable. James Holzer wasn't able to dethrone him, and so far, neither has anybody else.
Yeah, he does such a great job out here. I mean, he just has raw speed, the consistency, the rhythm, you name it. Everything that you need to put a perfect race together at a road course, Andrew Wisdom, he's got it. I'm on board with Justin right now, and he is sitting second, and he's doing a phenomenal job. He did start out here in pole, but take a look. He's got Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and a couple other drivers directly behind him, including Jimmy Cocker, Riley Rosenbrook, and a few others. So these guys, still a relatively close race. Any position is up for grabs, and I see a lot of tight racing out here. Starting with Matthew Gale and Brendan Book leading this other pack. They're doing a great job, and these guys, they're going to be switching positions soon.
Absolutely. Also inside the top 5, talking about P4. He's up 2 spots right now. Jimmy Cocker in that Virginia Tech number 11. You mentioned Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. He's right in front of him. And then Riley Rosenbrook, who started P5, still running P5. Brody Falker up 2 spots to P6. Josh Taylor started 7th, running 7th. So you got the guys that started inside the top 10, still running right there. So nobody from the back has come on up and tried to take those spots from them just yet. But we got the stage breaks, we got trips down pit road. We are a long way off from those final checkers.
We sure are. It is only lap 2 of 34, and we're getting ready to come over to lap 3. So still quite a bit of racing left, but this is the point where these guys are gonna see how their car feels. How is it handling? How far can they push it? By lap 2, their tires are now warmed up. The first lap is gonna be tricky because it was on cold tires. Now we've got grip in those tires. They can kind of push it a little more than they did, but I feel like as soon as they get used to it, Pete, that stage is gonna come out, and these guys are going to want those top 10 in points.
I was saying a little bit of a battle just a moment ago for P7. I mentioned that Josh Taylor had it. Well, he had Jordan McGraw right behind. J-Mac came up and over the hill, put it to the left side, and either the two let him have it, or Jordan just really got a great exit, was able to carry the momentum, able to take the spot, move Jordan McGraw up 2 after starting 9th.
Yeah, I'm seeing that we might have had some issues with Brendan Book and John Honeycutt, so I want to take a look, see what happened here. Coming over to the right-hander, and you have a ton of speed. Brendan just gets loose coming around there, along with Honeycutt, who tries to slow up. Looks like everyone made it through just fine, but I'll tell you what, great reaction from Honeycutt to try to avoid Brendan Book and not cause some damage.
Yeah, I mean, you had simultaneous spins right there. So that goes to show that John Honeycutt really thinking about the race, keeping his track awareness about him, and yeah, no contact between those two. They were able to move on, and good job by the drivers that were behind him not to run into him either, even if it did cost him an incident point or two.
Yeah, it cost him several spots. Also, Brendan Book moves back to 19th. John Honeycutt gonna move back to 23rd, and meanwhile we are on lap 23. Andrew Wisdom still in the lead here, but Justin has not let him out of his sight, so these guys are still off and running. I want to go on board, and I see a couple of single car crashes going on throughout the field. Remember, 21 incident points. These guys will have to go through pit road to do a drive-through. That will absolutely devastate their abilities to make up positions, but the stages hopefully will catch them up.
Yeah, you were just talking about Andrew Wisdom and the lead that he's got. It's now 1.5 seconds over Justin Aniscock. And not only did he do that, the man just went shake-a-big purple with a time of 2:14.14. Justin Aniscock was a 2:14.33. So those guys still very, very close. And yeah, like you said, that Red Bull machine not letting the leader out of his sights.
Absolutely. Let's go through the field and see if we can find some close racing out here. Looks like Riley Rosenbrook and Brody Falliker, very close racing, and this is going to be for P5. So Brody Falliker, let's talk about him. He won last week, did a phenomenal job, and that took him up a ton in points. Great to see it out there, and it's great to see him in the winner's circle once again. And since we're talking about that, let's take a look at the points if we can. I'll get rid of some of this stuff so we can see it out here, but points definitely close out there. Let's take a look. It looks like Wisdom is in the lead with 142 points. Justin is going to be out there in second with 138, not too far behind. Brendan Book, who we just saw in an incident getting loose around that corner, he's sitting P3 with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who's currently sitting third. He is fourth in points with 114. Jimmy Cocker in fifth with 109. Tom Flitcroft in sixth with 106. Hamilton in seventh with 86. Jeff No in eighth with 85. Honeycutt ninth. And Andrew Sanford tied for ninth. So very, very close in points out there.
Absolutely, and I kind of made it a point during practice or pre-race, I guess you could say. Everybody that's inside the top 10, including those that are tied for ninth right now, Honeycutt and Sanford, they have run every single lap of every single race so far this season. No DNFs, no nothing like that, and they're able to keep them inside the top 10 in points. Great job, great start for them. And back to Brody Falliker. Brody Falliker is a very, very accomplished oval racer. Probably definitely one of the best within FIWB. And he can add road course racing to his resume as well. Still staying pretty close to the top 5. If he gets past Riley Rosenbrook, he'll be having another great night in points here, as well as he's going to try to battle for the position, thinks better of it, gets back on the binders before this right-hander.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Sitting P6 right now, but man, I'll tell you what, this race is just heating up throughout all these positions. Absolutely phenomenal job through these drivers. But as you said, Brody Falliker, he's a fantastic oval driver, proving also that he's a great road racer. So great job for him out here. But Wisdom, that gap just keeps increasing. Not by much, but just a little bit there, Pete.
Yeah, just a little bit. Last time we were talking about Andrew Wisdom and Justin Aniscock, we had mentioned that they're about 1.5 seconds apart. Right now, 1.8. It depends on which which end of the track we're talking about as to how close they are between each other, because at some parts of the track, Justin's just a little bit better, but it seems like Andrew Wisdom gets the jump on the 4 on the exit of the corners.
Got a notification that says John Honeycutt crashed, so let's see what exactly happened, if anything at all. We're coming around the right corner right here, and I feel like this is a huge issue for these drivers. The 93 just narrowly escapes, and the 50 just cuts it loose, and so easy to do, but he does a phenomenal job of keeping it off of him, and off he goes once again. But I'll tell you what, Pete, those tires, they're going to be very, very unhappy with him.
Yeah, John Honeycutt, a great driver all the way around. He's a great guy as well. He actually made his broadcast debut last evening in the Turn Down for What iRacing Truck Series. Showed up into the booth, said, "Hey, Pete, here I am." He only said he was going to stop in for a minute or two. Ended up staying the entire race. He's a pretty good broadcaster in his own right.
No doubt about that. He's always so well-spoken, has a lot of fun out there. So yes. I know he enjoyed it with you, so we'll see if he joins you again. It'll be fun to watch.
He'd like to.
Pump, I see you out there. It is indeed a real broadcast. Hope you're doing well. John, how are you? Nintendo, yeah, he made that paint scheme himself. Loves doing it, but Andrew Wisdom. I talked about that gap increasing. The stage break has come out. Andrew Wisdom is going to get 10 points for leading in that stage. Justin going to get 9 points. Jonathan bringing home P3 for the first stage, going to get 7. Jimmy Cocker in 4th. Brody Falliker 5th. Riley Rosenbrook in 6th. We have Jordan McGraw in 7th. Josh Taylor in 8th. Matthew Gale 9th. Luke Allen is going to finish 10th for stage 1.
There you go. Tom Flickroft's going to finish 11th. Jarrett Cardwell, P12. Micah Allard, 13th. 14th is going to be Brendan Book. Forrest Smith with his debut here in the Shake Bake Series, up 10 spots so far, Eliza. He's very close to that biggest mover award. Sitting 15th. 16th is going to be Francis Hamilton. Andrew Sanford, 17th. 18th, Connor Cunningham. Steve Maggio, 19th. And to round out top 20, talking about Philip Bridgman in the number 9.
Yeah, and 21st is going to be Joe Berg with 22nd is Christopher Karch. We're going to have John Honeycutt in 23rd with Jacob Palmer. He's going to be 24th. Jeff No, 25th. 26th is going to be Oscar Henson. 27th, Chuck Cody. 28th is going to be Joseph Turley. And 29th is going to be Mike Papa Bear Campbell. With 30th is Jose. Not sure what happened to him.
So there you go. So everybody, I don't know, Eliza. What do you think? Come on down and at least top off, or do you stay out and just keep the weight of the car as is, so there's no surprises coming around the next lap?
You know, I have a feeling a lot of these drivers, most of these drivers, if they've done long runs, you're gonna want to get those tires here. Tires, fuel, you name it. I think a couple are gonna try to stray from that and just take fuel only, possibly. We'll see. Maybe some might stay out. I don't know. There's so many options for this, but from people who have made those long runs, I think we're going to see a lot of drivers head in. We'll find out what they do, though.
I'll tell you what, if they come down, I'd be very, very surprised, because right now the 4 of Justin Aniscock, he's not really pressuring or not really trying to get up to the back bumper of Andrew Wisdom to maximize the gap that he's got back to the 1. It looks like they're actually catching up to the pace car.
Yeah, you get about 18 and a half laps out here. So technically you could stay out, not take tires or anything. But remember, you're going to have that fall off after around lap 4 to 5. And that's going to cost you about perhaps a second, depending on how well you're able to get around the track. We'll see. But I think a lot of these drivers, yeah, they may come in. It just depends on what position they're in. And remember, we only get 2 sets, so they really have to be careful when they take that.
Yeah, it looks like the only driver to come on down pit road was Chris Karch. Everybody else stayed out, keeping the status quo, keeping the feeling that they had in the car, not really looking for any grip, not looking to top it off. It might be about the balance, and you know, never know. By now, with the wear and the heat and the grip they've got in the car, they might feel pretty safe in them right now.
Yeah, it's very true. It all depends. You know, weather actually determines a lot of how you feel, how hot the track is. That makes how grippy the track is also. So if they're feeling good, they're going to stay out and not give up those positions, which is what a ton of these guys, in fact, most of them, what they did here.
Yeah, you could say that right now the track is somewhat in the heat of the day. It's right around 2:50 in the afternoon. It's a 90-degree track temp with 72-degree air. So it's actually not too bad, but we are looking at about a 13-mile-per-hour wind. So that could also be playing a little bit of a factor also.
Absolutely. Chloe says, who got the caution? It is a stage caution. The first 5 laps of the race is going to be the stage, so that brings out the caution for the stage finish. What that means is our top 10 drivers are going to get bonus points for crossing the line first. So Andrew Wisdom, he got 10 points. Meanwhile, Luke Allen, I'm not sure who actually finished 10th in that, but it should be Luke Allen. He's going to get 1 bonus point. Kerblam, I see you out there. Hope you're doing well. It's been a wild race here. We're going to have another restart coming up shortly as these guys get gathered back, and we're going to get racing once again.
Well, it won't be a turn 1 lap 1, but it will be turn 1 lap 9, I believe, is what it'll be. So we'll have to see if anybody has any kind of an issue. They did really, really well in turn 1, lap 1. But now these tires are worn. The drivers, they still have that sense to them. But who slides it, Eliza? Who gets up and gets going, and all of a sudden they got to back it down? Does somebody wheel hop? Somebody lock them down? Somebody slides? Do we have any incidents on this restart?
I mean, we've seen so many drivers just lose it going into turn 1 simply because of how much speed they have on this straightaway. I mean, look at how long that is. That's the entire width of that track. So that is a lot of speed to gain and a short amount of time to get it woed down, because you know that you want to take all that you can as far as lap time goes and position to try to get everything that you can going into turn 1. So I see a couple of drivers back there, Pete, going into pit. We'll see what they do, but these guys are not yet going back. We're going to go another time around.
Yeah, when you talk about some going down pit road, talking about the 34, Jordan McGraw, the 61 of Micah Allard, Brendan Book in the 5, Jarrett Cardwell, Francis Hamilton, Andrew Sanford, Philip Brisbane, John Honeycutt, Jeff No, Oscar Henson, and Chuck Cody. So they're taking the second time around to go down pit road. I thought, and I could be wrong, and depending on how the rules in Shake and Bake are, but I thought if you go down pit road the second time, if you didn't go down the first time, I thought it was an immediate black flag. I'm hoping I'm wrong for a majority of these guys.
It is different for the road courses since we are trying to simplify it, and it's such a long road course. We're trying not to have these guys under caution for so long. So we're kind of changing things around. Once these guys come back out, it should go back to green coming to lap 9. We'll see what they are able to do. We have race control of Thomas Harmon and Brian Pizzikimi. So these guys do a great job. They'll determine when we will, as long as everyone is gathered back up.
There you go. So the one of Andrew Wisdom pretty much led everything from the first green flag through the first stage break. The 4 of Justin Anscock really did not give up much. He was in that 1 to 2 second back window, just trying to keep the tires under him, maybe save a little bit of fuel when possible. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Jimmy Cocker, and Brody Falliker will be restarting inside the top 5. It's going to be a great restart. Wondering if anybody slips up. I don't think they do, Eliza. I think everybody's got a pretty good feel of these cars. No errors or miscues in the beginning of the race. I think we have just a flawless restart, just like we had earlier.
Knock on wood, but yeah, I agree, Pete. I mean, I was talking to a couple of drivers before the race, and they were saying that we normally have very clean road races. Everyone gives each other space. They know that you're going to have to brake early. There's just too many cars to get through that corner. You have to take it easy going through there. If you don't, it's going to mess up your car, and it's exactly what these drivers do not want to happen. So they're well aware, and they know that they are on older tires, so they're all gonna be in the same seat, except for those drivers in the back that have the fresh ones. They're gonna have to be a little more patient as they try to make it through the field.
Yeah, I think the guys that started in the back, I think they're going to start making some moves pretty early, especially in those braking zones once they start to bring those tires up to temp. So some of those guys that came down late, we might actually see them a little bit closer to the front, or at least inside the top 10 for those stage points before that second green-white checker flies.
Absolutely. I see John out there says road racing is a different animal in stock car racing. You are absolutely correct. He says, I grew up with road racing and love it. I know you do, and you always give us those amazing facts, which I absolutely look forward to hearing from you. So great to hear, but these guys are coming around the final corner, getting ready for a possible restart back to lap 99. So it's going to be extremely close. We're on board with Riley. You see him out there. Let's go up to our leaders and see how it goes.
Yeah, pace car's going to go ahead and pull off. The flagman Barney's got the green flag in hand. Let's go racing.
going to be up to Andrew Wisdom, and you can see these guys really piling up. Take a look at that. That's going to create an accordion effect. Almost disastrous going through the field, but they are off and running. Andrew Wisdom going to lead us through the field. Justin going to be by his side heading into corner 1. And we're going to have Jonathan Meyer going to fall back in line. But, man, these guys are really, really tight, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely really tight all the way coming down this hill. And they are 2 wide from about P6 on back. First 6 rather, all single file as they come single file off that first set of turns.
Take a look at how these guys are doing, and it's just so incredibly crowded. Let's go on board with Matthew Gale sitting P10 currently. He's doing a phenomenal job, up a spot from where he started. You can see him taking his time. We have the 7 absolutely getting loose as he's trying to hug the corner, going through the grass. That's going to cost him some incident points and trouble for the 81. These guys, man, it is just so incredibly tight.
Yeah, Forrest Smith making his debut, getting a little loose at the top of that hill, just underneath the Corvette Bridge. But for the most part, able to retain some spots. He's still up 13 on the evening, so had a great first stage. Looking forward to see how the rest of the race turns out for him.
Absolutely. I mean, he did a phenomenal job saving that car, trying to come around the corner. It's just so difficult. You not only have to run your line and worry about how your tires react, but you got to worry about everyone else around you. When is their braking point? When is their throttle point? What line are they going to take? So there is a lot that goes into what you need to do and how it affects your race. So we'll see, but Philip Bridgman, I see that he's hit the wall. He's making his way back out on track. Really unfortunate to see. I think he's going to have some repairs to do, and there's a lot of smoke coming out of that car right now.
Yeah, very unfortunate for that 9. If I'm not mistaken, he's probably got a big old meatball, and his spotter has already said he's going to have to bring it to pit road for repairs. Not able to keep pace whatsoever. Just hoping he's not going to have to pull on over and tow, as you see some other competitors getting around him.
Yeah, Christopher Karch making it through, but these guys heading 25 laps to go. Unfortunate to see for him, as we still have a lot of racing left, but Andrew Wisdom still in the lead out here, doing a great job. We're going to have Justin behind him, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in 3rd, Brody Falliker in 4th, and Jimmy Cocker is going to round out the top 5.
Yeah, Team F5WB teammates for 4th and 5th. Brody Falliker, Jimmy Cocker, Josh Taylor up a spot after starting 7th in the deuce. He had a little bit of a sketchy restart, but so far looking pretty good. Riley Rosenbrook down 2 spots, sitting 7th with Steve Maggio, Connor Cunningham, and Luke Allen to round out the top 10. Eliza, it seems like the names that we're talking about every single week just continue to rise to the top, no matter what kind of course it is.
Yeah, Connor Cunningham making his way past Steven Maggio. Great job, great pass by him as he makes his way through. That's going to put him P8. So it's great to see him out here doing really well. I know the ovals he hasn't done as well as he's hoped. So it's great to see him out here in the top 10, and hopefully he can finish that way, Pete.
Yeah, Connor Cunningham in these AC Delco colors really surprised me in practice. As fast as he was the first one to really post a fast lap in the warm-up session, and then again in qualifying before the rest of the field was able to catch up to him. But Connor down 5 spots right now, so had that great qualifying effort, which means he's got speed under the hood of that number 3 machine. I look forward to seeing what he's capable of doing later in this run. It'd be great to see him on a podium position.
Absolutely. I'm getting notification that Joseph Turley perhaps had an issue. Let's see what has happened with him. Let's go back and have a look. Feel like it's always coming down around the corner. I mean, it's always that straightaway, just too much speed, trying to get that car woed down, and yet another car has that incident, but no harm, no foul, just cost him a little bit of time here.
Yeah, a little bit trying to keep it out of the sand, completely locks it down, so he's still up on the road course and able to continue on.
Absolutely. 123 Ninja, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. I think I just messed that name up, but thank you so much. Hope you're doing well out there. RC, I see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. It is a very difficult corner. You just have so much momentum going into it, and you don't want to give up that speed. I use some markers along the track that let me know, hey, this is where you need to whoa it down. But some of these drivers, they might have a different one, and if you lose concentration, that just spells trouble.
I'll tell you what, one guy that's got his concentration back, talking about the guy in 12th right now, the 50 of John Honeycutt, really did not have a great first stage, but here he is bringing some heat back to that Nintendo number 50 for Team FTR, making some moves and gaining spots back. I think John's back on his game and ready to crack the top 10.
I think so. He's talking about in our team chat, talking about how he's driving. He's saying, you know what, team, this is what I'm getting this week. I'm feeling pretty solid. Do you have any tips or pointers? And man, he really had to save it right there. Almost got into Luke Allen. So great save. But again, you do have to watch those tires. It can absolutely hurt your car. It makes them angry, heats them up. And it's going to make driving a little more difficult moving forward.
Yeah, I think John's a little upset right now. He's able to catch the 7 from a little ways back, and that little issue that he had where he lost a little bit of control, that's because he had to get on the binders. He thought he was going to be able to pull to the inside of the 7, just wasn't quite there. I think once he exits one of these corners better than the 7, he might be able to take that spot from Luke Allen, but the 50 absolutely stalking the 7 machine.
He sure is. I think he's going to get a little aggressive, trying to make his way through and say, Luke, let me through. Try to make a deal with him. We'll see what happens. But Luke, he's going to want that spot if he can. And let's say he's going to go down pit lane. So John does not have to worry about that anymore. He's going to move up P11, Luke Allen, down pit lane.
Yeah, now he's got a good, 3 seconds up to Jordan McGraw, his Team FTR teammate, up there in the 34. Right now, Jordan, he's got a good gap behind Andrew Wisdom, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, and Brody Falliker. As John Jurgensmeyer actually takes over P2, Andrew Wisdom posts the new fastest lap of the race with a 1:14 flat. Who says he's letting off the throttle pedal? Not me.
I know. He is so fast. It's crazy. John says, bringing heat, you mean the Nintendo car got a fire flower? I think so. I mean, something is going well for him in that machine. Doing great out there, sitting P11th, and Andrew Wisdom absolutely flying in the lead. And it's just, it's no surprise considering his history on road courses and how well he does. I mean, he did so well in the IndyCar series out here. Had a lot of wins. You know his road course was shining out there. He brought it to the Cup Series, did great, and now he's out here in Xfinity.
Yeah, I tell you, I think maybe John Honeycutt hit that B on his gamepad for that fire flower and knocked the 7 down pit road, because it seemed like as soon as they came off that corner, there he was, and the 50 able to move on.
Absolutely. Take a look at these guys. Everything seems to be going pretty well. 23 to go in the race, still a ton left. And Brody Falliker sitting P3, up 5 spots from where he started. We're going to have Justin, who has moved down to P4, so he's lost a few spots. Let's take a look at our biggest mover of the night. That is going to be Chuck Cody. He started P13. He's up to... he did not start P13. He's moved up 13 spots to P17. So great job to him tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That number 31, Milwaukee, I believe it might be a Brewer scheme, if I'm not mistaken. Up 13 spots, sitting 17th. He's got Brendan Book, who fell back a little bit, just like the 50 of John Honeycutt, but was not able to recoup all that track position, or at least not yet. In front of him, he's now got Jarrett Cardwell, who just lost the spot to Francis Hamilton.
Yeah, some racing, very tight racing going on here. Francis Hamilton gonna gain that spot, the 81, the 48, and the 12 is gonna fall back to 16th. Francis Hamilton in 15th, Forrest Smith up to 14th. He gains 11 spots from where he started, so phenomenal debut for him.
Yeah, at one point he was up 15 before the stage break, so we're looking forward to the next stage break again. Right now, the last one to get points, oh, by the way, driver 34.
Driver 34, yeah, crazy. Jordan McGraw up here, top 10, and he's got the 51 ahead of him. That's going to be Steven Maggio. He's up 9 spots from where he started, so great night for Steven out here on this road course. Connor Cunningham, you can see him. He's right behind Riley Rosenbrook, but a lot of cars that you can make up a spot or take a spot. These guys are often moving, and the 4 machine, trouble for him. He's going to move down to 10th currently. He is out here in the sand. Some damage on that front end, not quite sure, but he goes to the pits, Pete.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened. I thought I just heard a motor pop. I'm not quite sure if that was him or who that was, but very, very unfortunate. We'll have to see if he makes his way off pit road or if that was that Red Bull machine expiring.
Yeah, I kind of want to have a rewatch of what happened here. We'll see. Man, he made a lot of contact with the 39. 39 was already in contact with another car. The 4 had nowhere to go, and that might have been Jacob's car that we heard pop as he made contact with the wall, but the 4 car, I'm assuming he had a meatball with that one.
Yeah, I mean, you see the whole front end slanted down. He wouldn't have been very he wouldn't have been very fast after that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it was probably the 39 of Jacob Palmer whose motor we heard expire. Very unfortunate for the 4 having to tow.
Absolutely. We have a couple of drivers that are on pit lane. It's going to be Joseph Turley, Justin Anasogak, and Jacob Palmer going to be out there. Philip Bridgman, he looks like he has retired from the race, unfortunately. But Luke Allen still out there. Tom Flitcroft out in 23rd, still hanging on. Doing a great job in that 8 machine, but I know it's not where he wanted to be for tonight, Pete.
No, not at all. He was getting in plenty of practice laps, talking to Jordan McGraw about some different points on track, brake points, shift points, throttle points, what kind of line he was taking through some different parts of this 14-turn course. So he was really out here is gonna give it a little bit more than the old college try. But right now, very, very unfortunate back in 23rd. But then again, Eliza, he didn't have the best qualifying position. He's only down 1 spot.
Right, absolutely. Forrest Smith, I saw that he had an incident perhaps with Oscar. We'll see what happened. Let's have a look. You can see he's behind Jarrett Cardwell out there in the 12 machine. I'm not sure if it's in the same spot. It looks like he's okay right there. Yeah, just little too much throttle going into the corner. Does not wreck it by any means. He's off and running, so no harm, no foul for him.
So we keep it green. 81 just kind of looped it around, and no caution, but we do get notifications on road courses just like we do on the ovals of any kind of replay that may be available to everybody out there, keeping an eye on their favorite driver week in and week out.
Yeah, we definitely want to check it out and make sure everyone is good. But John B. Marine says, welcome to virtual Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, USA. Absolutely. And it is apparently a very pretty place to visit. So good to see it out there. I've been to Wisconsin several times. It's always by the Great Lakes. It is always extremely windy and cold. And here we go, our second stage finish of the night. Andrew Wisdom gonna lead us up to this stage. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer gonna be in second, Brody Falliker in third, Jimmy Cocker in fourth, Josh Taylor in fifth.
Yeah, Riley Rosenbrook in that 86 Ford. He's gonna finish sixth. Connor Cunningham continuing to rally up P7. Steve Maggio up 10 spots to P8. P9 is going to be Jordan McGraw right where he qualified. John Honeycutt grabs the last spot as far as stage points go, right there in the top 10. Great rally back for him.
Absolutely. Matthew Gale going to be an 11th. Joe Berg bringing it home for stage 2 and 12th. Jarrett Cardwell in 13th. Francis Hamilton 14th, Forrest Smith in 15th for his debut, Chuck Cody in 16th, Brendan Book 17th, Christopher Karch 18th, Micah in 19th, and Andrew Sanford in 20th. And we haven't talked about Micah a lot tonight there, Pete.
No, Micah really hasn't made a whole lot of noise. He started 19th, and that is literally right where he continues to run. Jordan McGraw started 9th. He's still there. Matt Gale started 11th. He's still there. And it looks like Tom Flitcroft, we were talking about him a little bit ago. He also qualified 22nd, and that's right where he runs. So some of the guys that struggled in qualifying or were able to grab the spot they were in, it just goes to show they're able to back up those speeds. Some struggling a little bit more than others.
Yeah, you know, road courses are kind of funny with how they turn out. A lot of people end up finishing the race right where they qualified. We have a lot of movement in position tonight. I'm a little surprised with how much we do have. I mean, some of these guys up 10, 11, 14, 15 spots. So you normally do not see that much movement in these road course races. Where you qualify is usually where you finish.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, some people have definitely had some issues, and it was through various places or various parts of the running order. I mean, you think about Connor Cunningham, you think about the 50 of John Honeycutt, the 9 of Philip Bridgman, and so many others. So it kind of all adds to it. But not everybody that's gained positions just because of somebody else's, mistakes.
Absolutely. You can see these guys lined up single file, getting ready to make their way on the straightaway here. 20 laps to go, heading to 19. Still a ton of racing left to do. And road course races, these guys always say they are exhausted afterwards. I mean, you just have to be absolutely on it every single lap. Every corner. Everything is so important. If you mess up just one time, it could mess up your entire race, take that lead away. You've seen it time and time again with a couple of these drivers heading into this corner that we're going through currently. It's just something that you have to be aware, and it can be mentally exhausting.
Absolutely. Everybody's still trying to catch the pace car. They're actually just now kind of catching up to them. That goes to show just how large this track is. Andrew Wisdom, he's going to be the first one to see those flashing yellows. But Eliza, I'm kind of curious. Does Andrew Wisdom and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Brody Falliker, Jimmy Cocker, and Josh Taylor, those are the top 5 that did not come down pit road before, right along with Riley Rosenbrook, Connor Cunningham, and Steven Maggio. Some people did come down on lap 7. Do they come down this second time around, kind of like what we saw earlier, or do they still feel so great about their car that they're willing to really, let it ride out from here?
Well, let's have a chat. We got Andrew Wisdom. We're on board with him currently. Andrew, it's Eliza in the booth. How you doing out there?
Pretty good. I think it's the first time I've talked to you guys this year.
Really? I'm kind of surprised with that.
Well, mid-race at least. I don't ever get pulled anymore. I think you get tired of talking to me or something. I don't know.
We talked to you quite a bit out here, but man, I'll tell you what, no surprise. We see you out here leading the race. How's the car feeling currently?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Definitely just been in like tire conservation mode pretty much the whole race. It's like a lot different to the Cup cars that we've been driving the last couple of seasons. Like they don't really have to worry about the tires, and they usually actually kind of build faster throughout the race. But it's pretty much the opposite. The rears fall off a whole lot if you're not really gentle and careful with them. So usually it's worth it to kind of sacrifice a little bit of pace up front, try to make them last. So yeah, I messed up qualifying pretty bad and got some good track position, and luckily just kind of been in a good spot to be able to take care of the tires. So hopefully we'll keep doing that.
Good news. I would assume fuel and tires this time around.
Yeah, definitely both.
Absolutely.
I think we're actually on the edge of the fuel window, but I think because we'll go around one more time under caution, I think we'll be all right. But if anybody doesn't pit here, I would think they may have to come down. So that should be interesting if anyone stays out.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens, but a lot of luck to you. And man, Road Course King out there still getting it done. I don't want to jinx you, but you're doing a phenomenal job out there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. You heard it from Andrew Wisdom. I mean, he's so consistent. It is absolutely crazy. I don't know how he does it. It's difficult on the ovals to make sure you do what you need to do and when you need to do it, but on road courses, that's a whole different ball game.
You know, Eliza, I just realized we're going to be talking about this guy all the way through to the championship round because once the points reset for the round of 12 and then the round of 4, if there's a road course in each one of those rounds, which I'm pretty sure there is, yeah, he's gonna work his way through no matter what. Can he go for the triple threat? Can he go for the three-peat? I think we're going to be talking about this guy for a long time. Down pit road they come.
Yeah, down pit road they come, and I guarantee we're going to see pretty much everybody making their way down, especially if they have not pit the first time. And you heard Andrew say that it's going to be very close for fuel, but he thinks they will be all right, especially making another lap around under caution. That is going to save you some fuel, and you're not full speed. So we'll see what they do. But if you're running extra hard every lap, you could run into some trouble here.
Yeah, looking back to about P23, Jeff Noe, Chris Karch, they're still out there on track. Looks like Jeff Noe's got an entire front clip that he's missing. Jeff Karch, he's quite a ways back, hasn't caught the main pack yet. He was down pit road on lap 15. I was wondering if maybe he was going to try to stay out and stretch it out, maybe gain a point for leading while everybody else was on pit road, but it looks like he's probably going to be a little too far back. They'll be able to work their way out before he comes up to try to pass him.
Yeah, Jeff Noe, a ton of damage for him. You know, he's having trouble even steering that machine right now, but he's making his way onto pit lane, so you're going to see him have to get those repairs, and I think that's going to be a lengthy visit. Meanwhile, we have Andrew Wisdom coming out. Brody Falliker is going to come out in second. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, I'd love to talk to him, but he is not on the radio to be chatted with currently. So maybe one of these times, but man, these guys are doing really good. We have Jimmy Cocker in fourth, being very consistent out here tonight. Riley Rosenbrook out here in the top 5, right where he started. So great night for him.
Absolutely. Josh Taylor's going to roll off P6 after this stage break with Luke Allen right next to him. Connor Cunningham is going to roll off 8th. 9th, Steve Maggio. Jordan McGraw is going to come out 10th. John Honeycutt did go in 10th. He came out 13th behind Matt Gale and Tom Flitcroft. He's going to have Jarrett Cardwell and Francis Hamilton behind him to round out the top 15.
Yeah, some of these guys made up a lot of time. Tom Flitcroft making up quite a few spots, so great strategy for him. We'll see how it plays out getting into the final stage here. A lot of bonus points, and we've talked about it all season so far. You have to make sure you put yourself in that top 10 situation for stage 1 and 2. I mean, it's just so important before we head into playoffs to try to get that padding and those bonus points heading into the playoffs. And also, you want to try to finish in the top 10, of course.
Absolutely. Jacob NASCAR out there in the land of chat saying, wanted to say sorry to Austin. I was trying to get around the 71 and got loose. Nothing like making the apology public. And I tell you what, Eliza, just a simple sorry can go a long way when you drive around these guys every single week. It means that, you know, hopefully nothing's carried over, you know, to the subsequent weeks. So good job, Jacob.
Absolutely. You definitely want to make sure that you apologize to those around you, because you never know, the person could be thinking, wow, what did I do? Or he must be mad at me, and it could go from there. So it's always nice to squash that beef, but we're getting ready to go. Hopefully back to green out here. We had some of those cars damaged, but Andrew Wisdom, nothing has changed. He's going to lead us back to green with 17 to go. Brody Falliker making up those spots, going to be in second. We're going to be side by side, Pete.
Absolutely. Jimmy Cocker, he's moved up a few spots right along with Jurgensmeyer. Jurgensmeyer, him and the 4 have about been the only real competition for the 1, or those that were closest to him through the first several laps. But here goes the pace car pulling off, coming up the hill towards Barney the Flagman. Ready to go back green, Eliza.
Ready to go back green, and we're going to have Andrew Wisdom lead us back. Here we go once again, full speed this time around, heading into turn 1, which is quite a common trouble spot for some of these drivers. We'll see how they get through. Let's go on the blimp, and that is not a good angle, so we'll go back. But they get through fine. Andrew Wisdom already out in the lead. Brody Falliker going to be in second, but he's making his way through here just fine.
I went all the way back through, didn't see any punts. It's not football season yet. Connor Cunningham going around.
Yeah, so unfortunate. I think we saw him make a similar mistake out here in stage 1. I could have been mistaken, but man, oh man. Really unfortunate to see with what a phenomenal run that he's had, but he is moving once again. Hopefully no damage for him.
Yeah, looking at the back bumper of that AC Delco machine, little, I was going to say maybe a little bit of damage, but actually looks pretty clean. I think it might have just lost it under throttle as he goes on by one other car off track. I think it's going to be Rosenbrook.
Yeah, I'm taking a look here. We saw that he just absolutely melted through the field. These guys trying to check it up, just nowhere to go. Riley in that 88, you see, gets loose, gets on the throttle too early, straight into the wall. That's going to be some damage for him as these other drivers try to make their way through.
Yeah, you see the 2 and so many others avoiding the 88. 88 trying to check up and just knocks down or tries to knock down the inside wall.
It's tough out here. These Xfinity cars, they're very, very loose. It's hard to get them woed down. And a lot of guys will play with their brake bias. You put it down too low, and when you put on that brake, it's going to absolutely get you loose. And you're going to see what happened here happen a lot more. It's just a common thing to see. But Andrew Wisdom still out here in the lead. Brody Falliker second. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in third. Jimmy Cocker fourth. Josh Taylor gonna round out that top 5.
Yeah, Josh Taylor on the back says more smoke. Kind of taking it back to his Xbox console days, right along with Jeff Noe and Forrest Smith and Mike Pop, Derek Campbell, and so many others that have stayed friends for so long, carried it over from console onto iRacing. They continue to, just find each other again and again from league to league. It's so many histories throughout all the different various teams and how far back they go.
Love taking a look at how these guys make their way through the corners. I mean, we talked about how quickly you have to make your way around here without spinning it out, but you can see them using the curbs all that they can. There's a few that it's kind of catastrophic if you do use them, but man, you can see Andrew Wisdom taking all that he can through these corners, just using every piece of that track. That's what you got to do to make it through here, Pete, as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, and I tell you, Andrew Wisdom, he's doing it the right way. I mean, we were talking earlier about incident points and how many you can have without having any kind of a penalty or anything like that. So you know that he's fast and he's doing it in the cleanest possible manner. He doesn't want to, get those 21, 22 incident points, have to go down down pit road, serve a black flag, lose the lead, and then try to have to fight his way back through. Do I think he's fast enough to possibly do that? Yes, I do. But does he want to do that? No, because you just put yourself in harm's way here when you're trying to fight through that much traffic.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how much these guys can hang out with Andrew Wisdom. Staying close, these stages have definitely added to an interesting factor to these guys. It gives you yet another chance to catch up to the field. It gives you another chance to try to make up those positions, and that's been a great thing to see out here in these road courses, that stages. And you get that stage 1 and 2, piles these guys back up together, makes things a little interesting.
Absolutely. I tell you what, one thing that's interesting, Brody Falliker, he's staying within 2 seconds of Andrew Wisdom, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he's not letting them go either. Jonathan, he's keeping an eye on the 42. The 42 sees Andrew, and then Jimmy Cocker kind of watching just about the rest of the top 5 as Josh Taylor's not too far off of his bumper. So got a pretty fast group of top 5 drivers.
On board with Jimmy Cocker, you can see he's making his way through the right-hander up here. We'll see how he handles going through that. That's going to be the Moraine sweep. as we head into turn 5. It's going to be a left-hander up here. It's very, very tricky. Downhill to the left. It's a very tight corner entry. Some of these drivers could have an issue with it. I know. I was tire hopping, to be honest, Pete. I had so much speed. I was trying to get everything I could. Tried to woe it down a little too quickly and got a little bit of tire hop.
Talking about too quickly, how about it? Andrew Sanford, yet again, going Shake It Bake Purple with a time of 2:13.52, bettering his previous fastest lap that nobody else has yet been able to touch either, except for maybe Brody Falliker. He just ran his PB, 2:14.07. That would have been 1/100th faster than Andrew Wisdom's previous fastest lap.
We talk about Brody Falliker, and he just got passed up by Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in that double O, so he's made his way up to P2. Brody Falliker falls to 3rd, and Brody's got Jimmy Cocker directly behind him in 4th. Any position is up for grabs right now. The racing is so incredibly tight, it can change at any moment, but Jonathan makes his way up to 2nd.
Yeah, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer very, very fast. Brody just kind of still hanging out. He's got a little bit of scrapage on the left-hand side, on the driver's side door. It looks like Jimmy Cocker just kind of staying right there. Josh Taylor's still there. Jordan McGraw, though, how about this? P6 up 3 spots. Matt Gale up 4 to 7th. Luke Allen, after some previous issues, finds himself in 7th. Luke Allen 8th. John Honeycutt finds 1 spot better than he did in the first stage. And then Micah Allard, you said we hadn't really talked a whole lot about him. Well, how about that? Top 10 up 9 with Francis Hamilton behind.
Yeah, made his way up 10 spots, and we do have a taker for pit lane. It looks like Riley Rosenbrook is going to make his way in, and Jeff, no. He's making his way in. Still no front end on that car, but still moving. Matthew Gale, I'm getting a notification that he is wrecked. He's still off and running, but he's going to lose possibly a couple of spots as we have some drivers making their way, and that's going to be Micah directly behind him, followed by Francis and Steven Maggio. Yeah, he's going to have to pull over, gives Micah that spot as he's got full speed, and we'll see if Francis follows in that 48 machine.
Yeah, Micah's going to be able to get around. Mr. Gale's going to fall back right behind in that 67. A lot of front end damage to that machine. It'll be interesting to see how that thing corners from here on out as the car right behind, talk about the 48, having to completely lock them up as the 67 prepares for the left-hander.
Yeah, a lot of smoke coming out from that lockup out there. It's just so incredibly tight. It's just those different braking points. If you have to get on it quicker and a little bit more than you're used to, you're going to see that smoke come out, and you're going to lock up those brakes and those tires, and we see a couple of spin-outs simply because of that. But Matthew Gale still on the move, so great job for him trying to get that move in. I'd love to see him do well. He's had a tough races out there in the last couple of seasons, so it's great to see him out here in the top 10.
Oh, I appreciate Matt Gale just for his commitment to the Shake and Bake iRacing series or community as a whole. Matt Gale again from the United Kingdom, so he is 5 hours ahead of our time. So if we're talking 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, add 5 more hours onto that. This gentleman is up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, staying committed to this community, and I absolutely appreciate that from him.
Absolutely. Jacob NASCAR says team is attempting to repair the motor so I can get back out on track to gain a few more positions for points. Great to hear that. Hopefully they can. He sits P28 out on pit lane trying to get that thing up and running. So good luck to you on that. Wisdom out here in the lead by 5 seconds over Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Take a look at the track map, and you can see just the distance between these two drivers as he's going around the Moraine sweep. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is just now joining him.
A little bit of a battle, a little bit further back. Connor Cunningham, Joe Berg, and Andrew Sanford. The 3 and the 93, as well as the 37 kind of battling out. 3 was able to get on by the 37. He had Joe Berg for just a second, but then Connor Cunningham kind of touched the grass a little, had to slow and woe it up so he didn't completely lose the car. But Connor lost a whole lot of spots earlier, right at the restart, back up to 14th, trying to get closer and closer into the top 10 as we've got 13 laps to go.
Yeah, we've seen him make some great saves, and looks like that 48 is going to go in the sand. He's going to come back out on track. We'll see if Andrew Sanford is able to make his way around. He does it just fine, but man, it tells you this track is crowded. There's a lot of spots up for grab, and they are making all they can through it. And I want to give a shout out to Aussie Pride. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well out there. Enjoy your evening. And Maddie says, that's some dedication. It's 2:30 a.m. his time right now. And that goes for Matthew Gale. Absolutely insane. Monster says, go 00. Tell you what, he's out here in second. Phenomenal race for him. You'll love to see it.
Absolutely. 5.5 seconds now behind Andrew Wisdom. The 00, the 4, as well as the 42, kind of kept tabs with the number 1 of our 2-time champion here in the Shake Bake iRacing series. Talking, of course, about Andrew Wisdom, the only other driver to grab a championship. Talking about James Holzer in Season 1. But, man, it has been all Andrew Wisdom at all road courses in all seasons. This man has just been on a tear, Eliza.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked to him earlier while he was getting ready to pit, and he just says his car feels great, and he's really enjoying it. So he's doing a phenomenal job. Now the question is, are guys going to run into some trouble out here with fuel? Are they going to have enough? You're going to have to save a little bit. Make sure that you have that extra fuel out there. We did have an extra lap for the stage break. However, if you're running that machine really, really hard, especially for people like Connor Cunningham, who had to catch back up after a spin out, that could mean issues later on.
Yeah, it really can. I mean, they're going to have to save a little bit as the 93 goes off track. Connor Cunningham's going to be able to get by. 48 having to do a little bit of evasive maneuvers, but the 93 of Joe Berg just lost 4 or 5 spots in the course of one turn. Eliza, that goes to show exactly what you were saying before. Anything can and will change on any given lap.
Yeah, this is one of these tracks. It's just consistency is just so incredibly important. The 48, Francis Hamilton, loses it around that left-hander, and that's going to put him P16. Joe Berg goes up to 15th. Forrest Smith is going to be in that 81 machine directly in front of Joe Berg. Sits P14.
Yeah, how about Forrest Smith? Yet again, Smitty, as he used to be known, in P14, up 11 spots. His biggest move for the evening was about 15 up. Right now tied with Andrew Sanford, Chuck Cody, and Oscar Henson. Every single one of those guys up 11 spots on the evening overall.
Yeah, I mean, just huge gains for these guys. They have to be so proud with the race that they ran. And this is Forrest Smith's. This is his debut race. So phenomenal job to him. He's running great, and I can't wait to see what he does on the ovals. We have a couple of new drivers that have just joined, and I see some of them have not joined tonight. Road America is a tough track, and I think we might see him out there for oval race. And it's going to be in 2 weeks, Pete. Next week we are off for Labor Day. We'll come back and do a 100% race at Charlotte. I believe 200 laps.
That is going to be a phenomenal race. Cannot wait. Aussie Pride Gamer says 11:40 a.m. in Sydney, Australia. So, hey, there you go.
I was just about to call that out. Thank you so much for tuning in. That is a late one right there. It's 9:43 my time. So, yeah, 11:40 a.m. That is early morning out there. So, great to have you out here. We appreciate it. And Monster says, go 51. Got some fans rooting these drivers on. You love to see it. Doing a great job out here.
Aussie, since you're a full day ahead, I want to reach out to you on Discord or Twitch, Whisper, whatever. I need to know tomorrow night's Powerball number since you're going to...
Wouldn't that be nice, Pete?
Right? I'll pay him.
Andrew Wisdom out here, 6 seconds of a lead. Absolutely crazy. I don't know how he does it. I keep saying it, but I really, truly don't. I mean, you rarely see this guy make any type of mistake. You can go on board with him and you see he's just, keeps that wheel as straight as possible. The less movement that you have on that wheel, the better for the tires. And even going around the kink, which is extremely difficult for turn 11, he just does a great job at just absolute control of that car.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it used to be in season 1, part of season 2, before he really got really good at the ovals as well. I mean, the road courses were his bread and butter. And since then, he has just become an overall great driver. He's a lot of fun to talk to, a lot of fun to interview. He is an open book. You can literally ask him anything you need to know about these cars. He's even a little bit of strategy, but he's very, very consistent. And like you pointed out, a lot very smooth as well.
Absolutely. Kevin out there, one of our drivers, he says 200 laps at Charlotte. Do you want me to be drunk again? It's going to be a long night, no doubt. But Charlotte, I love, love, love Charlotte. I think it'll be fun, but yeah, it's going to be a long one for sure. Absolutely. Take a look, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and that 00. 6.6 seconds behind Andrew Wisdom, sitting P2. Just a great run for him tonight. He's just been so consistent out here this season, doing a great job, and points-wise, it's absolutely showing. I mean, it's great to see him up there. He joined, I believe, later in the season, last season, and is just, man, he's making a name out here. Everyone knows it by now, and he's sitting P4 in points, Pete.
Yeah, you watch those flames shoot out the side for every little bit of the downshifts that they've got to make. These guys are shifting so many times per lap. I would imagine when this race is over in just 10 now short laps, these guys would have had to have shifted about 1,000 times. And you know, some of them using the paddles on the wheels, some of them actually using an H pattern shifter, some of them kind of messing with the settings to where all they've got to do is burp the throttle to shift. There's so many different ways, and they try to get every competitive niche that they can to make sure that they get the best possible finishing position.
Absolutely. And Maddie's calling out Jordan. He was P6, currently sitting P5, so he's in the top 5. A great race for him. He does love his road courses, has always been just phenomenal at them, and tonight is no different. He's gained 4 spots from where he started, so sitting P5 is going to be a great points day for him.
Not only him, but how about his Team FTR teammate 2 spots back, talking about John Honeycutt, up 5 spots after starting the night in 12th and having a little bit of a problem, able to work his way back to P7. So Team FTR really showing up at Road America.
Absolutely. Unfortunately for our final FTR driver, Jose Ruiz sits P30th, and I don't believe he is in the race any longer. Not quite sure what happened with him, but he always does such a great job out there, so I hate to see that his race ended that way.
Yeah, I mean, Jose Ruiz, he's another one that is extremely consistent no matter what he's piloting on any given night for any given league. Very, very strong driver. Not quite sure what happened with Jose, but you can bet your bottom dollar that in 2 short weeks after the holiday break, he'll be back on track in contention.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at some of these drivers. Luke Allen, he's been just great out here tonight, currently sitting P8, up 5 spots from where he started. And you can see Micah directly behind him. Steven Maggio currently sitting P10, so he's doing a great job. Matthew Gale still sitting P11. That's where he started the race, and if he gets in the top 10, up 1 spot, that would be great for him. Top 10 in points day. Connor Cunningham sitting P12, and we've seen him had a couple of issues throughout the race tonight. If he can make his way up to Matthew, he is definitely going to be looking to make a pass.
I would absolutely love to see, I know we can't go back or anything like that, but I would love to see how far up in the field this 3-car would have been had he not looped it around a couple times or gone off track or whatever. Connor Cunningham has has shown to be very, very good at this course. He's very fast in practice. Obviously down 9 spots right now, sitting P12. He had a great qualifying effort as well. A lot of speed in that 3 car.
Absolutely. He used to race in our Xbox League back on in the Cup Series and Truck Series and whatnot. So I've known him for several years, and he's always done a great job. And I'd love to see him out here in the iRacing Series. But man, Road America, we took notice out here in practice with him. He has not had the finishes that he has been hoping for. But Road America, I mean, apparently he's really liking how this road course runs.
Yeah, like you mentioned a little bit ago, if he catches up to Matt Gale, which currently sits in 11th, and that's a 2.4 second gap back to that 3. It'll be interesting if he can catch up to Matt Gale, maybe even Steve Maggio before this is all said and done. Do I think he's got that kind of speed? Maybe not, because we're talking then, 4 or 5 seconds to crack the top 10 and really make up some serious points.
Yeah, and we also got to remember, we have to watch out for that fuel and those tires. I mean, these tires are really screaming at these drivers. They have had to take a lot of care for these. Andrew Wisdom was talking about the rear tires, and I know a couple of drivers before the race started, they were talking about the front tires and how they were unhappy even after lap 4 or 5. So you know that things are a little sketchy right now. They're not as grippy as they are hoping. And they are definitely heated up. So we'll see how it goes. Will anyone have to pit? I don't know, but I think it's going to be very, very close for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, you're talking about how consistent Andrew Wisdom and everybody else is, and you're just now talking about the tires and the fall off and the wear. Andrew Wisdom's last lap was a 2:15.73, almost 2 full seconds off of the fastest time that he ran in this stint, I believe, which is a 2:13.52. So 2 full seconds. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, his fastest lap was a 2:14.57. His last lap was a 2:16.66. Everybody else in the 16s, 17s, and 18s, all behind Andrew Wisdom. Andrew Wisdom still showing why he's the champ he is.
Absolutely. I mean, he's up 9 seconds. And I do believe the other road courses that we did not have stages. And I know that he lapped most of the field. Just absolutely blows my mind how you can lap the field like that. It's just crazy, Pete. He does a great job.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, some of the people just have I don't want to say a natural feel for road course racing, but it just fits. It's right in their wheelhouse, and they excel at it. While other people like me struggle on the road course races, I still tend to like to race at Watkins Glen and Sonoma. Get me out on an open track like this, and me in the sand and me in the grass, and then me in the wall would be very, very good friends. We'd be Facebook buddies and all that. But Andrew Wisdom, extremely smooth, very, very strong cat, and he has just been pulling away from Jurgensmeyer and Falliger.
Yeah, so true. We're on board looking at Luke Allen, and he's got still a lot of company behind him. He's got Micah and also Steven Maggio right behind him. So these guys are not letting off. I mean, they're straight following up on Luke Allen. And I'm kind of curious, will they make a move to try to take over that position? That is going to be for P8. All 3 of these drivers are in the top 10. And here we go. Luke's going to fall back a little bit, take over a spot. That's going to be Micah up to 8th, Steven in 9th, and Luke Allen falls to 10th.
Yeah, Luke Allen very, very loose under braking. You saw the rear end get really squirrely, couldn't do anything with it. Great job controlling that wheel hop, and only losing 2 spots. He's pretty fast. I mean, he's still up 3 spots after qualifying 13th, so he's got a good top 10 car. Just needs to concentrate, get the tires cooled off as much as he can, and then try to attack Steve Maggio and Mike Allard.
Yeah, you can't let small little mistakes hinder your entire race. I mean, you really have to try to gather yourself back up, put it behind you, and get back into that rhythm as quickly as possible. I mean, some drivers are really good at chasing the rabbit, and that's what these guys are doing with Micah currently. They're chasing that rabbit. Some other people, they may not be as good, and it may mess them up as they're trying to concentrate on, let me get that speed, let me try to catch up to them as fast as possible. It's interesting to see which drivers fall into what category.
I don't know about you, Eliza. If I'm chasing a rabbit around a 14-turn road course, I'm gonna be a little tired. But yeah, that is a great analogy. Never would have thought about that. Micah Allard, though, up to 8th, now up 11 spots. Still the biggest movers of the race. Chuck Cody back in P18 in that number 31 Chevrolet, and Forrest Smith also up 12 in P13. These guys have been after it all race long. No give up in them whatsoever. Next time by, we'll be talking about 5 laps to go.
I know, crazy. And I'm just seeing so much fishtailing coming out of these exits. It is so crazy. You know that they are just trying to keep a hold of this car for the next 6 laps. I mean, these tires are screaming at them. Fuel is dwindling down. They're just holding on for dear life till the finish here. We'll see how it goes, but man, there's a lot of positions up for grab. I mean, you see a lot of single file lines, but anything can happen. You see Forrest Smith, he's got some company behind him.
Yeah, Smitty still trying to hold everybody behind. Talking about Andrew Sanford behind. You got Matt Gale still up ahead, but talking about people taking positions. How about Jordan McGraw moving up from 6th, getting by Josh Taylor to take over a top 5 spot? John Honeycutt still just 2 spots behind him, so he was able to get by Micah Allard. So Andrew Wisdom, Juergensmeyer, Falliker, Cocker, and Taylor still your top 5, and Jordan McGraw, he's less than 3, now less than 4/10 behind the deuce.
Yeah, these two were side by side, a little Days of Thunder out here, it looked like, without the contact. But man, oh man, fun race for these two as they're making their way through the track and coming out around Canada Corner. A very tricky spot, and you've seen a lot of drivers make some mistakes there, but they make it through just fine. Jordan McGraw, he looks like he is ready to attack once again. You can tell he's having a lot of fun. He's out here looking for a top 5 in the next 5 to go. See what he can do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as the Deuce and the 34 all go off track. It looks like they followed the car just ahead of them, way off. Both coming up the hill, both collecting an incident point, but not losing any position. Great car control.
Yeah, that's going to be Mike Papa Bear Campbell. All 3 of these guys went off track, but again, an incident point for each of them, but no harm, no foul, no damage. Good news for these guys is they make their way through. Josh Taylor going to lead that 2-car pack. Jordan McGraw, he's still on the hunt, Pete. He's still going to make this try to happen.
Absolutely. By the time this race is done, Eliza, they're going to be so looking forward to that 2-week break. But then, yeah, like you said, Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Queen City, the beast of the Southeast, it's going to be a beast of a race, a full-length race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. What a great night that's going to be. They're going to need that full 2 weeks to rest up between these two.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. We go from one extreme to another. I mean, road courses are tough. They take a lot of patience and determination, a lot of consistency and concentration. Then we head over to Charlotte, which is going to be the longest race of the season by far. They're going to be exhausted tonight, but man, oh man, we're going to hear it from them in 2 weeks. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. The 2 went off track. It allowed the 34 of Jordan McGraw to get so much closer, but wasn't quite able to take the position away. The Deuce has gone off track in the same spot 2 laps in a row. Jordan McGraw very, very kind to allow the 2 to get back on track without any kind of a real fight. They continue to stay nose to tail.
Yeah, he's going to have to take advantage of any type of mistake that Josh Taylor makes. It's just dependent on when and where. And Jordan can't afford a mistake if he wants to get in that top 5. But Matty Joy fan says Charlotte is going to be wild, and I think you're right. It's going to be a fun one. It's an oval. It's going to be tight racing. My favorite track, so I'm going to be so excited. Can't wait to see it. But yeah, I can't wait for it. But man, 4 to go coming out here. And the last time we took a look at Andrew Wisdom, He was 9 seconds in the lead. He's now 12, Pete.
Yeah, 12, and he's now got the 48 behind, so you can add the 48 to the cars that are a lap or more down. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, 12 seconds flat behind Andrew Wisdom. There's really been nobody capable of getting up there with this one car and challenging for a position. The 4 was able to keep him in sight early in the race, but since then, everybody else has really fallen back. Brody Falker, he's 12.6 back. Jimmy Cocker, he is 21 seconds back. And then Josh Taylor, oh, by the way, we were just talking about him and the 34 of Jordan McGraw for 5th and 6th. They are 30 seconds back, respectively. So, yeah, this one is put on one hell of a pace all night long, and there's no looking back. He is the road course king.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wild. I don't know how he does it, but props to him for sure. But Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, a nice surprise by him. I mean, he's come out here and just done phenomenal in these races. Haven't really seen him that I remember. And, well, yeah, first time in Xfinity Series that we've seen him out here. So he's showing what he can do out on the road courses, and he can do a lot. He's sitting P2. 12 seconds behind Andrew Wisdom. Brody Falker, who won last week, sitting P3. So great points for him. He moved up a ton over points from last week's win.
Absolutely. He kind of corrected us in post-race interviews last week. We thought that last week was his first win when it was actually his second. Him and James Holzer shared the closest finish in shake and bake history was it last season or a season and a half ago? And yeah, he's able to get it done last week. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, looks like this Xfinity car just really agrees with him. Just like Brody Falker was saying, he wasn't quite sure how the Xfinity car and him were going to get along. Hey, a P3 finish at one of the toughest races so far this season. That'll help give you a little bit of a shot in the arm. Looking forward to the rest of the season.
Oh, absolutely. Same thing with Jimmy Cocker. I mean, he's out here P4, and seeing him running these Xfinity Series, he's doing a great job, and it's just fun to see how well these guys are doing. We did a switch. We did a vote saying, which car do you want to run going into season 4? This one got the most votes. Here we are, and some were like, you know what, I don't have a lot of experience in Xfinity. I might do pretty bad. These guys are doing great out here. And in our Rowdy said, had fun racing with Wisdom the first half of the race. Man, I'm so bummed. I took a look at what happened and just that front end damage. I'm assuming you got a meatball and had to call it a night, but you were doing phenomenal out there, Justin.
Yeah, Justin Anscock, again, from Kenai, Alaska, does a great job every single week. Another one, irregardless of what he's piloting, he's very consistent, very strategic in any of the moves that he makes. He's a great addition to any league, and overall, one hell of a guy. So glad that he's here in Shake and Bake. He brought along Josh Taylor, and Forrest Smith is here. Jeff Noe is here. A whole bunch of guys that have been friends for years and years. It just kind of goes back to the camaraderie that we so frequently talk about.
Absolutely. He says, yeah, blew the motor and broke the wheel. That was such a hard hit. It really tough to see that happened, considering how great you were doing. You hate to see it. Mighty Joy fan says, you did great out there. I agree. Coming up to 2 to go, Pete. Wisdom, I don't know if anything is going to hold him back, but man, he is just running these crazy, crazy laps. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer still holding out in second, Brody Falker third, Jimmy Cocker fourth, and Josh Taylor rounding out that top 5. Jordan McGraw, that gap is starting to increase between him and Josh Taylor. Let's see if he can't make his way back up.
Yeah, Andrew Wisdom, he's not relaxing at all on the gap that he's got. Since the last time we talked to him about the gap between him and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, when it was like 12 plus seconds, Well, yeah, now it's 15 seconds. He's not relaxing. You almost got to kind of wonder if he was to try to slow down his pace, maybe save a little fuel, save a little tire, would it actually mess up the rhythm that he's got around this 14-turn course? Would it, screw up his shift points, maybe mess up his entry and maybe mess up his exit as well? A lot could happen if you try to slow down the pace that you've been running all night long. And Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, I got to tell you, doing phenomenal. It just seems like this Xfinity car has really helped him out, and he might feel a little bit more at home in this car than he did in the Cup car. Brody Falker, he said the same thing, like we were just talking about. Wasn't quite sure how the Xfinity car was going to be. Here he is, P3 on a very hard night. Jimmy Cocker, you mentioned, Josh Taylor, Jordan McGraw, John Honeycutt, Steven Maggio, Micah Allard, and Luke Allen, the full top 10 with 2 laps remaining.
And you were talking about Andrew Wisdom, and if he is really pushing it, or what would happen if he kind of calmed down a bit. But talking to him in his interview, I don't know that he was even pushing. He said he's saving those tires, and Andrew Wisdom, he knows his limits, so I really don't feel like he is pushing it at all. I've been on board with him and watching. I mean, that wheel is pretty straight. He is really making his due diligence on not really pushing the issue here. He fishtails a little bit out of the corner, but man, with coming up on the final lap to go, there's not much you can do as far as handling of this. He's just doing great. I don't see anyone else coming between him and that checkered flag.
No, not at all. He's going to grab that big old block of cheddar in victory lane. They're talking about the points. It's just going to be another notch in the road course belt that he's got. And in our route, he says, "Tell Andrew I said good win for me in victory lane." And yeah, I mean, the sportsmanship goes a long way, and we'll be sure to tell him just that. Jurgensmeyer still holding on. Brody Falker would be our complete podium. We'll have to see if anything changes here in the last lap. Looks like Andrew Wisdom now is making that first left-hander going up the hills.
Yeah, you can see him making his way up there, and we're going to be talking to Brody 2 weeks in a row. How about that? I mean, win last week in the top 3 if he can hold on to it, which I don't see any reason why, but we got a little bit of a battle here between him and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Can Brody Falker take over that P2 spot before we hit that finish line? We'll have to find out. There's not much to go, but man, Andrew Wisdom, he is coming around that carousel, making his way through the final lap, getting ready to win it all here at Road America for the Xfinity Series. 34 laps. He's had an amazing race.
Absolutely, that 42 and that 00. Still, the question that needs to be answered: will the 42 be able to get on by? 42's behind, coming through the carousel. Second and third, 42 absolutely hunting down that 00. 42 gets a little bit of grass on the left-hand side. 00 very, very steady off the corner. So is the 42.
Yeah, here we go. Andrew Wisdom coming around that final corner, and we're going to bring him up to the straightaway. Kerblam says pure dominance, and he is not wrong. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Have a great night. But here we go. We're going to bring Andrew Wisdom home for his Road America win here. 34 laps of pure dominance, as Kerblam King says. Great job by Andrew. No surprise here. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, these guys going side by side, Pete. Take a look at this down the straightaway. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is going to be able to take over that P2 spot. Brody going to finish it out, P3.
Yeah, great run by both of those guys. And that just goes to show every point matters. The 42 really trying to hustle that machine to get on by the 00. Jimmy Cocker's going to be finished 4th. Josh Taylor 5th. Jordan McGraw, John Honeycutt, Steve Maggio, Micah Allard, and Luke Allen to round out the top 10. But those guys are still racing.
Let's get these guys in the booth. Andrew Wisdom, he's going to be celebrating here in a moment as he does his cool down lap. I should say after he does his cool down lap. But man, what a race for these guys. So incredibly fun to watch, but great job out here, Pete.
Yeah, and they did a phenomenal job. Going through all the channels and wishing everybody luck as I try to do before every single race. I heard we're gonna die many times, and it definitely didn't turn out to be anything like that. The one especially as he's burning them down.
Go, you see Andrew Wisdom celebratory burnouts out here at Road America. Great job. We see Andrew celebrating. Let's get it done. I'm hoping to get Jonathan Jurgensmeyer out here, but no word from him yet. But Andrew, your race, I mean, absolutely flawless from start to finish. No surprise. How were you on fuel, and how was your tire wear on that final stage?
Yeah, fuel was good. I think it ended up being about a gallon to the good, so it wasn't really too big of an issue. Luckily, those pace laps we had at the end of the stage helped a lot. Definitely started to feel the tire wear. I tried to take pretty good care of them, but I don't know. I just got the feeling like pretty good, so I probably could have done a little bit better job, but was definitely starting to feel it the last couple laps for sure.
How much of a difference is it between Xfinity and the Cup cars out on road courses?
The Xfinity car is definitely, I would say it's way more sensitive. Sometimes I think it's a little more forgiving, maybe on the brakes in terms of locking them up, but like the tire wear is so much worse with the skinnier tire, and you have to take care of it so much more instead of being able to push. I mean, even then with like the Cup cars having like the independent rear suspensions now, like you don't really have to worry about wheel hop anymore. But when you go back to these things, it's a pretty big issue if you're not careful on the brake. So, uh, yeah, definitely kind of feels like driving a boat compared to the Cup car. I feel a lot more planted. But yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. They're still pretty fun to drive, just a whole different experience.
I can absolutely see that. But yeah, when I was driving it, definitely a lot of fun, and you made it look so easy out there. Congratulations on the win here at Road America. I can see you guys all celebrating. Great to see. That's going to help you out here in the points as you're already leading, and you got some nice stage points. So that's going to be a huge padding for you. Just again, congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Pete, you want to give Jonathan Jurgensmeyer his second place interview?
All right, Jonathan, you've had that double O inside the top five all night long. A great battle at the end between you and the 42. Before that, it was you and the 4 trying to keep up with the 1 who just set a pace all night long. Walk us through your race and how you stay as competitive and mistake free as you possibly can around this track.
It was really tough, especially in the at the start of the race. I got third off the start. But Justin and Andrew, they're just so much quicker than the rest of the field. Andrew obviously pulled away from Justin, and then Justin made his mistake. I feel like it was a lot more about keeping it on track, not making mistakes more than anything, which I feel like I did really good at. And then, I mean, we got really good stage points in the first two stages, and then uh, I thought that I could give Andrew a little bit of pressure, maybe force him into a mistake at the start of stage three, and had a bad pit entry, and Uh, Brody got me in the pit lane, so lost a spot there. So had to settle with second, but well, I can't say I had to settle with second because I definitely had to fight really hard for second, but uh, uh, still really fun race.
You seem to have really excelled in these Xfinity cars. What's the biggest difference for you between the Cup cars that we ran in the first 3 seasons versus Xfinity in season 4 so far?
I feel like it's a lot of just experience with these cars, with understanding how to save these tires compared to the next gen, which I really have no experience with pretty much at all, besides this league and a few other leagues. But I mean, this car, I really feel like I can excel and maybe make a run in the playoffs here at the end of the season.
All right, well, congratulations on this runner-up finish. Very hard fought all evening long. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yep, thank you.
Congratulations. You got it. Eliza, Brody Falliker wins last week, brings it home P3 this evening.
Yeah, having some great finishes out there in the Xfinity series. So, man, I'll tell you what, you guys are going side by side up until the finish line. Absolutely insane. How was your race and how was it racing for trying to get P2 for Jonathan Jurgensmeyer?
I mean, I had a bad qualifying. I messed up on my first lap, which put me further back in the field than I would have liked. So I was just trying to take care of the car, take care of the tires till I got up to the front. Um, the car didn't feel like it was on ice today, and I think that's what really helped me. There's been a couple of times that I've raced here, and the setup is just way too loose for me. So felt like the setup felt really good this race, and you know, it was fun battling with Jurg at the end, and it was close all the way down to the last corner.
Yeah, it was for sure. And I know this is going to be some nice points for you tonight. You gained a huge momentum from last week's win, and tonight is for sure going to help that out even more. It's been a great season seeing you make your way up through the points. How do you feel your races are going leading up to the playoffs?
Oh well, got off to a horrible start, but that win definitely turned things around. I feel confident in this car, for whatever reason, and I think it is experience. I think Jurg was talking about that. I think you have to have had um, a lot of runs with this car to kind of succeed. Um, it's a different beast than the next gen.
Fair enough. Yeah, it is totally different with how it handles and what it feels like on the track, especially at road courses. So it's fun to see how everyone did out here. And a huge congratulations to Andrew Wisdom on that win and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer on the second, Brody on the third. You guys did amazing. So fun to watch. We'll be back in 2 weeks at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's going to be 100% race, a wild, wild night. I can't wait to see it. My favorite track on schedule. It's gonna be fun, Pete. It's gonna be a long night, though.
Yeah, you bring the skewers. I'll bring the marshmallows. We'll sing a little kumbaya because we're definitely going to be out there into the late of night if it's a night race, which I'm hoping it is. But either way, great race this evening, Eliza. Thank you again for having me. Looking forward to the rest of the season.
Absolutely, you guys take it easy. Thank you so much for tuning in and supporting the drivers and us in the booth. See you guys in 2 weeks.